Imagine Steve Jobs selling on Bat and commenting on his auction.
New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's like, it seems so much smaller than that.
A 4.
Yeah.
The 4 was the perfect form factor.
I agree. It's a beautiful phone. I think it's
In
like
fact,
the prettiest phone.
I think the 5 is when the iPhone got all fucked up.
I mean, the 5 sucked because mine was the black one that like chipped and looked like garbage in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but then that's when it got like long. I feel like the
Yeah.
4
The 4 was the perfect proportion.
was so chunky.
And just the material, like the honesty of materials was so good.
But that was when they came up with like, hey, what if instead of like rounded edges, we let people, get grips on the phone?
Right, there was the edge of the glass was different from the edge of the metal. So it
Yes.
was like there was like a little
Yeah.
grab
This little
zone.
thing. But was this? No, this was not the beginning of Antenna Gate. That was with
That
the
was Antenna
roundy.
Gate.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, not with 4.
I think it was 4.
Wow. Okay.
And
so
that was when they had the bumpers.
when Steve Jobs boldly, he truly was the first CEO of CEOs
Yeah.
to say like, maybe it's you.
Yeah.
The millions of people who have bought this phone. It's not us.
Imagine
You're just
Steve
holding
Jobs,
it wrong.
selling on Bat and commenting on his auction.
I would love that. I would love that. Everything would just be so. I mean, okay.
That one account that sells all the SLs should cosplay as Steve Jobs and be like, oh, this
Oh
actually,
my
this is
God.
perfect. This car is actually perfection.
So, because Bat sells like literally like 1,000 auctions a day.
Not literally, but yes.
People should know what Kevin is talking about here, which is there is a seller because there's a seller for every single type of car.
I thought you were saying a slur, like an
A
SL.
slur, a Solara.
An SLer.
A Solara.
There's a guy who sells a lot of Mercedes SLs.
Yes.
And
There's-
a lot of R129s.
And it's Kevin's favorite scenery.
Because he parks in a garage and it has a sign that says like lock your keys, like lock your car,
No,
take your keys.
Take your ticket.
Take your okay.
Take your
and
ticket.
And it is a like Windows blue screen of death blue.
Yes.
Pure RGB blue sign, and it's in the background of all of his lead photos of the car.
It is
So
the worst application
such
of
a
like
focal
LED
point.
technology where it's like you could have just printed that sign, but
I didn't
instead
even know it was an LED.
you're utilizing.
I thought
it's
it
so
was a printed
bright.
sign.
No, it's so bright that
Oh.
it must be an LED
So
sign.
it's so weird because this guy has all these SLs and they are illuminated against this sign in
Well,
every photo.
So the sign itself is like centered in every single photo,
Yeah.
directly above the car.
And you can't not read it.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
This person could turn like literally a few inches to one side or another,
Yeah.
and it would not be in view.
So when I
However,
first saw this seller, saw one of these auctions, I had like a little Photoshop contest on Twitter where we just Photoshopped to say that the sign to say other things. And we'll
Yes.
post some of those in the
Yes.
on our Instagram.
and this is the
They
type
were
of
amusing.
it is amusing, and this is the type of quality content that you should expect on a show like New
For
9
T
6.
X.
Was that it? Is that our show?
Yeah.
think
Someone
it
has
might
to
be.
say the exclamation point.
Oh my god. Was that it? Was that good enough?
Yeah.
How do you audibly say an exclamation point without a word?
Well,
Gasp?
ideally you would have said the 6 with more emphasis.
I have not gasped
Yeah.
in at least 12 years, so I'm not going to start now. But so you have a lot of commentary. We have a lot of commentary on
Yeah.
Bring a Trailer Selling. I feel like this is fair game.
Sure.
Here's the thing: is that you have so many opportunities. At least the frequent sellers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of opportunity to critique.
Yeah.
One stop, because we all know when you see like a thumbnail flash on Twitter, say for instance that a new auction has just popped up, you know who the seller is because they always take it either in the same place or they take a same photographic
certain
style.
ones. You're not saying everyone you can
Not
tell,
everyone,
but there's
yeah.
certain cars where you know
Yeah,
who this is.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so you love the like McMansion suburban guy.
There's one guy, and every picture is in front of his house in Ohio. And
Yeah.
I initially I thought, well, it's Ohio, so it's gray and dreary every single day.
Yeah.
But I think it's a filter he puts on the pictures.
I think it's always like a little bit like desaturated.
It's very muted.
It's very muted. Maybe it's very gray there. I don't know.
No, but I think it's a filter.
It could be a filter. I think it
Yeah.
might be a filter.
Hmm.
New business idea for you: selling a Photoshop preset to let people just not make crappy photo. Honestly, like auto levels is enough for most people, but I feel like the filters, if you don't use Photoshop, well,
Why
even if
stop
you
at a
use it-
filter? I should sell an action
What if you
that
sold like,
adds isolates the car and puts that Ohio house in the background.
or like a decorative frame in each one that was like ye old good time, and then it just
Yes.
make everything sepia.
I love it. I love it. That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Oh God, do I have a favorite one? There's this one guy who sells like wagons.
Okay.
He always finds like BMW and Mercedes wagons,
Sure.
and he just takes it like on a road, like a rural road of some kind. No effort into the photography
That
style.
sounds nice.
Yeah, but he's got enough of a style who everyone recognizes who he is, and people have said in the comments like, I look for these and I'm bidding on this because it is you. And so
Yeah, that's good.
who do you think that is the most famous, not famous, sorry, who is the most like notable person on seller on Bring a Trail? Is it 1600 Veloce
I mean, it's got to be 911R.
or 911R?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be a tie between both of them.
Okay.
Both of them do like high value auctions where like people are just drawn to them. Wait, who does the light painting?
That's 911R.
That's 911R.
But they also do studio stuff and they
Yeah.
do like fields in Oregon. I mean,
Yeah.
they do nice work.
We've been there. We've gone to the space actually.
Yes,
And
independently.
It's very unassuming.
Yeah.
Like it's a surprisingly small garage.
I'm sure they've grown or bought another.
Oh, very likely.
property.
Very likely, yeah. So, but the reputation they have built certainly is like immense. Like they are
I mean, they do good work. They do a
They
lot of
do,
cars.
yeah.
They do good.
It's trustworthy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So there is that. But and then
Daniel was telling me that they don't do the driving videos as much these days.
Oh,
Because
really?
I think that their driving videos were like noteworthy for like just
they ring out the
extremely
car.
illegal looking
Oh, yeah.
driving at
Yeah, they ring
morning
it out.
time around Portland and stuff. And I think they've kind of dialed that back.
Yeah.
Or I don't know exactly. I haven't actually investigated this.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting
They-
because Daniel is a resident of Portland.
He
so
is, yes,
we talked
Daniel
about
Sloan. And
that.
I mean, they could just blur out the video like a YouTube reviewer where it's like, I'm not doing anything illegal, but
Yes.
I'm going to pixelate this area.
Right.
Have you ever pixelated a speedometer?
No.
I don't know that. I mean, is that evidence? Is that technically evidence of wrongdoing?
I don't know. I did enjoy the Top Gear bit where they superimposed like a slow moving speedometer going the speed limit over sounds
Yes.
of the engine, like clearly going to red line in multiple gears.
Yes, yeah.
In succession.
I do remember that. Oh,
That
you
was-
could, for you and your YouTube channel,
Yes.
U-Tube channel,
Yes.
you could do that.
Well, yes.
But often it is your vehicle that is in it. I don't know that it can achieve illegal speeds.
Cannot go over 85.
First of all, it doesn't. Yeah, it can go over 85,
go
which
over-
is the legal speed limit in Texas on the highways.
One highway.
One highway.
Yes.
I-10?
No, it's the 130 toll road. In
Oh
Austin.
wait, no.
That's
I-10.
85. No,
I-10 does
everything
85.
is 75, and you can go 85,
Oh,
but
yeah, you're
everything is
right.
75. But that highway is the only one that's actually 85.
Okay, well, in which case I
There's
may
some
have been
80.
going
I think
85.
I think there's
regardless.
some 80 in West Texas.
Yes. Well, this is very confusing. Just make it all 85.
God, I was so excited to record, and I don't know what this is.
I don't know.
Um,
Uh-oh, we're getting political now.
yes.
This is terrible.
How are you?
I'm all right.
All right.
Yeah, how are you?
You know.
Haven't seen you since, like, the other day.
Right.
Yeah. And before this recording.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're ready for me to go now.
We were commenting on your next film,
Yes.
which is going to be a riveting look into the ups and downs of the dramatic industry of emoji design.
Yeah.
And you're going to involve old school newsprint because you were
Okay,
published.
We don't need to go into this much detail about
That's-
this. I
I'm
really
riveted
wanted
by
to
this.
talk about the update of my Automoji sticker pack. The Porsche one is the only one that remains updated and has not been updated in 2.5
It's
years.
the only one that he has not been asked to take down.
The Radmoji no one knows about, so it's not taken down.
Yes.
That's the only one that remains.
Yeah,
But
I'll be honest. I was a little bit dubious of the celebrity private parts one, but I used it frequently.
all the pornography that's fit to print in 320 pixels.
Yes.
So yeah, my Automoji sticker pack has been updated for the first time in 2 years. So
Yes.
I just wanted to share that, and I was excited, and it was like a nice little thing to update that. A little bit of fun. Actually, not a lot of fun to deal with Xcode, but it was fun to make some new emojis, get
Yep.
in the zone, illustrate
Yeah.
some cars. We got the 996 GT2, the
Yep.
new GT3, a couple custom cars.
Yep.
There was there was a guy that was at Luft in Indianapolis where we were who had a rusty 914
Yep.
that I actually took a photo of. And it was that was really hard to model the rust on the car.
Oh yeah,
It was,
that would
it was
be
cool.
hard.
It was kind of half kind of sanded and rust,
Yeah.
half rust. So that was an interesting challenge. I always love when it's just a little bit of a challenge to
Yeah.
illustrate it in all vector illustrations. Although I guess when you do the effects, it is when you do the effects in Illustrator, it's doing a raster effect
Yeah.
on vector stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was fine. So it was fun to do that. That is available now. I need to post about it more. And I
Discount code new for 96.
that's not gonna work for you, but yeah. So doing this made me I should make a little film about this whole project because I
Yes.
find it interesting. There was some ups and downs over the years, and it is. Maybe this would be an end to this chapter because it's not really worth my time to update it. I kind of do it
Are you
for fun, but
over the auto emoji?
I think people just don't really use sticker packs
Yeah.
or buy them.
Well, I guess you have to you have to entice them somehow because once they've bought it, how do you? What is the butterfly net that keeps them captured? Otherwise,
Honestly, there's a lot of people that use it for years. The problem is I don't get money after if they bought
Right.
it once in 2016, I do not get paid. So there is loyal people that use it a lot,
Yeah.
but they're not paying for updates
And
or anything, and
Porsche-
I'm not asking them to. And I'm
Porsche
not,
is not coming out with enough new models for you to keep up with. So to keep people engaged, there are a lot of facelifts.
there's a lot of things. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, that was my Automoji corner. I don't talk about it
Well,
on here
please,
too much. Do
I
I?
also encourage people to go and invest in Automoji, the last in the series, because
The
I would
higher
like
stock.
to, meet up with my friend Kevin and not see him in a barrel and suspenders.
Dear God.
This will help him.
So like I said, for this video I want to make about this project, I was going back and I was looking at all the news articles about Automoji, and it was really cool to see, and a lot
Yeah.
of it was people like a friend of the show, Chris Perkins, and other people that I know, like Jeff Glucker wrote a thing about it. And,
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait,
various.
as a side note,
Yes.
what if you had canned interviews of people
About it.
commenting on Automoji?
Oh, like in Popstar.
Yes.
Like Popstar.
Yes.
Never stop.
You
it.
should do this. And of course, you have to do a black and white, either a black and white filter or some sort of effect on them to make sure that you assail their credibility. Much like when we have guests on this podcast and
Wow.
corporate
Okay.
management
Okay,
has
we'll
to review
visit
things.
this maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. Look, I have ideas.
You
You
just
don't
want
respond
to be one of those
these.
people.
Oh my God. I submit my recommendations frequently to Kevin only to be rejected by his non-existent secretary.
Like I said
Yes.
300 times before,
Yes.
if you want to have creative input on my channel, you at the very least have to subscribe.
Anyways,
People think that we hate each other.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Why'd your voice just raise so much?
That went
Actually,
supersonic.
I had, this is a topic, this is not really
Yes.
This could be done off air.
Maybe.
But
Well, let's
this is a little bit of
get into
a
it.
brainstorming I
Yes.
had.
Go on.
So you remember a few years ago, you and I went to SVRA, which was the vintage races at COTA.
Yes.
So, and I dragged you to a racing track where we
did.
walked around, and on-track action is good, but just walking around the paddock is the coolest because there's like
Yes.
amazing vintage race cars. And
The only time that I've ever like fallen in love with Corvettes was seeing like C1 race cars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is the coolest.
Yeah.
So, people think that we hate each other on the pod.
I'm
And
sorry about the letters.
An aspect that
The
does not come up on the pod very much, or that people don't know, is that we are both reformed graphic designers. we are both creative industry people.
Yes.
And we both do creative industry things. And I value your input and
Sure.
collaboration sometimes.
And while most of our moroseness comes from being jaded from the industry.
Yes, we hate it. Yeah.
Yes.
But working on the other things. So I wanted to put to you
Yes.
live on air. We'll cut this out.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to SVR a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I went and shot a video about panning.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I basically set up the camera and took video of me shooting panning. And I was watching like a Top Gear video where they went to like Le Mans Classic, and they were just kind of going around and picking their 5 favorite cars or something. And I was thinking, like, what would be a cool video? Because I like SVRA a lot. It's a great event. It's a good weather time of year, because it's always like November, and golden hour is amazing, beautiful, and cool access to race cars. And SVRA will give me full access to shoot whatever. So I was wondering, like, what I should do as far as if I do a video of something.
Oh, it's coming up.
It's coming up.
Okay. Yeah. Of the same event.
The same event, but like, what would I do for a video? As far as like,
So you've already done panhandling.
done? Yes.
So where do you go from there? That's a good question, because it is a really interesting like aspect of motorsport, because this isn't necessarily about like, I mean, it is about being quick. It's vintage racing. I've always been curious about that too, just like how the metrics work out for that. I mean, it's not really is it a timed event? I didn't even pay attention.
No, they do full races on track.
Okay, yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know so much about SVRA, but I know that like with Goodwood and stuff,
Yeah.
it's like, they're running these minis like faster than they ever ran in period, because there's like developing technology. It's like, oh, I needed to replace my suspension with this.
Yeah.
And it's like they somehow get things across. I don't know. I mean, I would like to do something.
Not be disruptive to the race. Say, for instance, filming in the middle of the track as the cars are barreling towards you.
I mean, I could send an email, see if I could do that.
Why not
Or
just surprise them?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why ask for permission when you can ask for forgiveness
Exactly.
later?
I feel like that's a lot of like what makes for popular web videos nowadays anyways. So
That's true.
is the element of surprise.
Well, the last one I shot on track action, and I talked about how to shoot on track action. So I'd like to maybe there's something I could do cool in the paddock, but I don't know what. So
Yeah.
I'll see.
But it's a great venue to do that too. I mean, it is
Yeah.
like where F1 races take place.
F1 races, and yet no one goes there for this.
Yeah, yeah.
People should go. People should go
go.
to SVRA. It's a really cool event. It is like amazing access to cool cars, and
Yeah, you get
I'll
to walk
be there.
the
You
paddock.
probably won't, but it's
Yeah.
great.
I went the one time.
Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so far. It's like 2.5 hours away.
Yes.
My limit is 15 minutes. That's as far as I will travel outside of the city.
He says this because my house is 16 minutes
is.
away.
I say that it is in Dallas, basically. We are in Houston, and Kevin basically lives in Dallas, 15 minutes
Yes.
away.
Okay. Well, we will revisit this, but
Yes.
you provided some good ideas.
Once again,
Once again.
you're welcome
All
for my invaluable suggestions.
All right. So
Yes.
let me tell you about some cars.
Yeah?
We have been
some
away.
Cars?
We have been away.
Have some
for
cars come out?
We've been away for so long.
Oh my god, we have been away for so long.
Okay. Let me just run through this.
Yeah.
All right. You're not
Yeah.
going to believe this. Ford Mustang.
There's
Pagani Utopia.
Oh my God.
Koenigsegg something. The McLaren Solus GT, Dodge Hornet, Jeep Avenger. These are some new cars that we won't be
Are
talking about on
you-
New for 96.
Having
We
a
don't
s-
have opinions
Are you
on
having
them.
a stroke? Because it sounds like made up words to me.
Yeah, it is. But there was a new GT3 RS.
There was a new GT3 RS,
We do have
which is
thoughts
amazing.
on that. Do we?
Yes, it looks cool as fuck. So
It does. Yeah, it
yeah.
does. It does. I mean, people are always going to get it and use it as like a cars and coffee car, but
Sure.
it does seem like they're making it as inhospitable as possible to driving
Yeah.
on the road,
Yeah.
which I encourage that
Yeah,
fully.
so I don't know if that's going to turn off people, but I mean, yes, the GT3 RS seems to have become, GT3s in general, have just become objects of showing off, I guess.
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
know what to call it exactly, but like basically, like, yeah, if you want to buy the most impressive looking Porsche, if you just want to be on the surface about displaying things, it'd be the GT3.
Mhm.
So yeah, who knows? But this looks cool. It's
It looks
probably gonna
cool.
be. How can you not be fascinated by this?
Yeah, exactly. I do. I like the angle, like the cutouts in the side to like relieve pressure. How there's like cutouts behind each wheel.
Yep.
Where it just like we just slashed away the body. Like that's crazy.
Genuinely speaking, though, like all the cutouts, all the holes, everything is so intentional. Like there's nothing false about it. It's such
Yeah.
an earnest design.
Like
It's
half
not
of it doesn't
pretty.
even look good. Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
pretty.
Right.
So, and that's what's amazing about it. What makes it look amazing. So
Yeah. Well, our friend of the show, Will, always said that the like wheel arch vents on the RS, which are kind of the same on this one as they are on the old one.
yeah.
It always looked like those were like done after the marketing team signed off on the car, but like the engineers were like, we actually need to do this, and like the engineers like didn't have any stylist like do
Yeah.
it. They just did this
They just,
thing,
like,
so it
cut it
looks
out,
like
yeah.
ugly as shit, but
Yeah.
it's like pure function.
Yes.
Like that's how that looks.
Yes.
And I like that. And that's
Yeah.
great.
I agree. Like this is it is such a pure exercise in
Yeah.
performance, and
Mhm.
so I mean, again, what's there not to like about it? You don't even have to drive it. Just see how pure an exercise it is.
Well, it's cool too because they have, as our other friend of the show, Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
said, Jordan Rameljaj,
Yes,
he said that
of modern air conditioning.
basically the like that engine is kind of, they probably can't get a lot more out of it.
Sure.
And so this is
This is
not
the
a big,
limits of-
this is, they're not getting any more out of it. So it's just kind of about aero at this point,
Yeah.
and cooling and everything. And it's just,
I believe that,
it's
yeah.
very interesting.
I mean, it just in an age of just so much artificiality, like where technology just is taking the place of just old school engineering. And I know this is just such a old man take on things, but this is like the last of this is real. I think we're witnessing the kind of the last of like old school engineering, and
Yeah.
so
What I always, and I've probably said this on the pod, but I'm just gonna repeat myself. We got some time to kill. The thing, like I remember always kind of struggling with like the GT3 in general. When the 991 came out, I thought, we watch these Chris Harris videos where he's like sliding the car and he makes it look so cool. And it's like every time they make the tires this much wider, they make
Yeah.
it this much grippier. Like we're getting away from that. Like it's
Yeah.
just becoming so much grip, so much aero, like
Sure.
so much performance. Like it's like you can never exploit it. But I'm totally wrong because people do take it to the track. They do exploit it. They do get the most of it. They
Yeah.
push a GT3 to be as fast as a Ferrari that costs $750,000.
Sure.
And then the other thing is that we can link to
less
it, but there was a
complicated technology, honestly.
not necessarily. I mean,
You don't
yeah,
think?
versus the hybrid,
Yeah, yeah.
But it comes back to, and I always Chris Perkins put it really well. He wrote an article. He drove like all the RSs or something like that, and he said, it's not about. It's not. They're not chasing this like dumb, diluted idea I have of what a driver's car is.
Sure.
They are truly like transferring. It's about the transfer from race car to road car.
Sure.
Like the 911 RSR, the 911 GT3R. Those cars are the most popular and successful race cars in the world.
Yeah.
Like in international racing. And so to take the things made from that and then also transfer back, it's like we put this suspension in so we could put it in the race car, and then we use this traction control system from the road car in the race car. You know, the Aero. We put this wing on so we can have this kind of wing in the race car, and it's just this back and forth transfer that makes. And this was also kind of what I touched on in my story in Europe in Auto Week, is that transfer of road car to race car is just, it's tighter in Porsche, in these GT cars, than you will find in anyone else.
Sure.
Audi races the R8. Mercedes races the AMG GT.
Yeah.
You will not find like such a close transference
Yeah,
of
that-
technology
yeah.
between them.
It
where
does
you're
not
really
trickle
getting
down.
like the race car stuff
Sure.
on the road.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think that is so cool. So it's not necessarily that it's, to me, it's not necessarily that it's old school, but it is just this pure
And maybe it's
expression
a
of performance.
A language thing, but like for me, like when I say old school, I just mean the filter, I guess.
Right.
So I am.
Hopefully it's truly awful on the road and people won't do it. I mean,
That's not going to happen.
Our friend and former guest Tom has the right idea. He has a GT3. He never drives it on the road. He drives
Yeah.
it to the racetrack,
Yeah.
uses it, and then drives it home, and
Yes.
then does not drive it for recreation in town. He's like, it's not really fun going to coffee in the GT3.
Driving in Houston, especially.
Driving in Houston, yeah.
Yeah, where one of our well-designed potholes will explode the car.
Have you seen the new Maserati Gran Turismo S?
You flashed an image at me whilst I looked upon in horror. No.
Okay.
I have not officially seen it. However, I have seen it in that I have seen the Gran Turismo in the last 10 years. So,
Okay, this is one of those things where it's like the expectation just really like subverted my reality. It kind of turned my world upside down for
Yeah.
about 5 minutes. It was a real roller coaster.
Yeah.
I was sent a picture of the quote unquote new Gran Turismo, and I kind of lost my shit for a minute. And then I'm thinking, okay, it's the old Gran Turismo with new headlights from the MC20. Like
Yep.
I can accept that. Like, and I was like,
you
this
accept that as a
is-
good thing?
No, not a
Okay.
good thing. I
was gonna
said
say.
it's, but the good thing is I was like, wow, this is a cool little send off for this car that debuted in 2007. Like,
Yes.
this is like a nice little thing. Here's what happened. Okay.
I-
What happened.
Go on.
I learned that the Gran Turismo was out of production since 2019.
Wait, it came back?
It's coming back.
It's back?
This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of something.
What the?
This is
Wait,
not-
it's the same car?
It's the same car, but with new headlights and taillights and like some new specs.
Oh
I think
my
it has a new
God.
V6, but I mean the chassis is old as dirt
How? What? How did they revive a car?
because they don't have money. Like, I don't know. It's not. I don't know. It's just it's
Okay,
Maserati stuff.
I have
but
many
it's just weird
questions,
because
but-
if it had been continuous production, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
this one maybe it'll last a while longer, maybe it won't.
Yeah,
Maybe this
and
is the
it's
last
not like
one.
an
It's like one thing.
over-
But they ended production in 2019, and now it's coming back. So
What
I don't
the-
think this is like a send off. I think this is like the start of a new thing. So the real question is this like a Viper where this is a new generation change?
Oh my God. Okay, so the headlights are not fitting of the body. Not that I was a fan of the old one, but
The old one was a pretty good design that got slapped with the BPC label pretty
Yes.
quickly, and also the Maserati kind of ruined it with like scoops and
I am not gonna lie.
variations.
Yeah, I had.
It
so,
was a good Jason Castriota design.
Yeah, it was very grand. The Gran Turismo was very grand. In
It was very
design.
grand, but I mean, if you looked at the earlier, like we love like the Maserati, the Gran Coupe and
Sure.
the 3200S.
Yeah.
You know, those cars from 2000, we
Yeah.
like those kind of as a nostalgia thing. We love the Euro taillights, the L-shaped
Yeah.
taillights. They were really cool. But the Gran Turismo was objectively better. Like, it's
I
objectively
agree.
a prettier
Yeah.
design.
Oh yeah. The problem too is that like Maserati has fallen into like the category of just basically there is no redeemable ownership situation here.
I don't remember what the I say the 3200S, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But I don't remember what it was called when it was the V8, which was all of them. I think, and then I know there was a good version I think was called Gran Sport, no D,
Yes.
and it had the very
Gran
flared
Sport.
side skirt that
Yes.
was kind of cool.
Yes.
And like a BBS wheel.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But I don't know what the base version of that was. It might have just been like the Maserati V8 or the Maserati GT. It's not very important.
Yeah, I don't recall. They were like I think there was multiple nomenclature at
There
that
was
time
multiple
for
nomenclatures
it.
for sure. Because
So
the
I don't
3200S
recall.
was like a 6-cylinder.
I like the simplicity of like the design then, but yes, this Grand Sport, which by the way, like I generously, when we were talking about this pre-show, like said like, oh, the one from 2010, and I was thinking like I was undershooting it by at least 2 years.
I was quick to correct you.
But then I forgot that I had one for like a day, and like I swear it was like 2010 or 2012 or something like that. I don't recall, but the thing is that it was like fine. Like it was very entertaining because like
Where
it had
does this rank on your loaner cars? Above or below Porsche 930 Turbo?
Oh, Kevin likes to try to assail the story of when I may or may not have actually had a 930 loaner car. To be fair, I was 17, so at the time, no one cared what a G model was to begin with. So how was I supposed to know what it was? It had a tail. It was manual. That's it. So, and not I'm not that old. This was side story here. The dealer that I had bought my first car, a
I've
Saab
made you
900.
tell this story on the pod before.
I don't know, maybe.
I definitely did, but I want to hear it again. It ages like fine wine.
The dealer who sold me the Saab 900, my first car, in 2000, but since I don't want to sound that old, 2015, like had dropped off. This was not, I'll clarify, this was not the dealership. The dealership, Momentum. This was the dealer who sold me the car. But I did bring the Saab to Momentum. But the dealer car was... So the dealer brought me a 930. I thought at the time it was just a G model with a tail.
Wait, but what if it was a G model with a tail? Why do you think it was a 930?
Because at the time, any like not old 911 with a tail was a turbo in my brain.
Oh, so you thought it was a turbo, but it might not have
It
been.
might not have been. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, no one knew then. No one cared about them then. So
Okay.
no one could confirm, and neither could I. Anyways, so he dropped that off as like a loaner car, and because there was something wrong with the Saab, obviously, and so he took the car and he showed up in that. He was like, okay, if you need to get around, here you go, and he handed me the keys, and I remember getting in. I was so excited that it was just like a Porsche of any
What color
kind.
was it?
I don't remember. I want to say it was white,
Okay.
just for your sake. But I remember getting into it, and I had never driven a manual before that. And I was like, all
A
right,
way to start on the world's worst manual.
I'm gonna, take this around the block. And I remember it did not go well. And I could only manage to get it going forward and then looping it around until I could park it in the same place because I could not get it to go, obviously. So it was a G model with a tail. That's
Okay.
all I can confirm. I'm gonna call it a 930. It doesn't matter if it went. It doesn't matter. If it was a 930, I would have gotten the same speed anyway.
No, it's a very good story. So you had the Gran Turismo
yeah.
as your loaner car.
Yeah. Okay. No. It was a client who had lended it to me for a day because I was just like, the long short of it is just basically like
Was
I had
like,
shown
you're
an
a car
interesting-
guy. I can
yeah,
tell from your
hey,
Prius.
Yeah. At the time, what car
2010.
was that? It was
20
2012, I think, and I think I had the 330i.
Oh, I don't know. Your story's slipping.
Oh my
You're
god.
changing dates on
Doesn't
me.
matter. Anyways, so one way or another, hey, you know what? Like, Ferrari engine, big. It sounded nice. I wanted to give it a whirl, so he lent it to me for
it's
the
a cool
night.
car.
And
Did he take your Prius?
I think it was either the Prius or the 330i. I don't remember which car it was when I
Okay.
had borrowed this car, but yes, I left it at the house, and I'm sure he took it for a joyride one way or another.
I see.
Yes. So it sounded great. Rode not great. Was peeling away on the inside, even though I think it was a relatively brand new car. And the best / worst part was that it attracted the attention, which, by the way, at the time I did not have a classification for this.
We
but,
didn't have the technology then.
Yeah, but it attracted so many BPCs. And
Wow. What are BPCs?
sorry, just BPs, but they probably
BPs.
drove BPCs.
BPCs, yeah.
So that would be bad people who drive bad people cars.
Right.
So, and I won't go into the stories of just like how I've come to learn like how bad that is, but
Wow. I really like. Okay, so
we'll post I have a picture of me with the BPC or it's a BPC. So yeah, with this car.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. So I'm picturing you coming back to your Prius,
Yes.
and you suspect that the person may have been joyriding, and
Yeah.
you check the fuel miles, and it's like it says 47, and you're like, he was driving like an asshole.
He was driving like an asshole. I was a hyper miler at the time, so
Yeah.
I was regular in my second gen Prius. I was getting regularly on the reg 54, 55.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think mine got like 34.
I think yours did get 34. Yeah. Instead of a hybrid traction battery, Kevin actually just had like lead weights in the back. So that was the problem with his car. Anyways, that was a terrible story about this like Maserati Gran Turismo. I wish
No,
it
that
had
was a
been.
good story.
I wish it had been the Quattroporte. Honestly, in hindsight,
I think maybe.
if of the like of this era of Maserati, not that era of Quattroporte, but obviously the earlier one, like the 20
Well, that was made
mid
then.
20 aughts.
That was,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
I
made
guess the
then.
same
That
era.
didn't get ruined until like 2013.
Yeah. Same era, I guess. But like for some reason right now in my brain, like that Quattroporte is so interesting.
Oh yeah. Well, what's crazy is like I literally once the giblets came out,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a Quattroporte. Like I know the Quattroporte and the giblets look identical.
Yeah.
But I've never seen the
Oh,
Quattroporte
the today
made
one, yeah.
after 2013.
No, the today one I could not tell you. Like at a glance, I could not tell you what the
Like I imagine no one bought it once they could get their Chrysler 300 version.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of which,
That's another new car we're not going to talk about.
another
the
one
new
we're not gonna
Chrysler
talk about.
300, which I thought was
the
a joke.
new not one. Well, the new it's not even a new one. I think it's just like the
It's the
Swan
big
Song.
well, it's the Swan Song. Yeah, like that. There hasn't been a V8,
Yeah.
like performance V8 in the 300 since like 2011 or
Yep.
12. So this is a big deal.
Yeah, because
A big step in a car that's almost 20 years old.
unless you had rented a like not even premium. What's the one below premium? Rental car. Whatever that one was, like you did not realize that they still made the Chrysler 300. And so yeah, the SRT8
Yeah.
version. I mean, like the specs are impressive, but then so I clicked on the like press release
Sure.
and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool that they're doing this kind of swan song thing, and it is, it's a very powerful vehicle. But then, like, I looked at the inside; it is literally circa 2009 Chrysler. Like,
They did a big redesign in 2011.
did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
2011.
Well, either way, it looks like a 2009 circa
Yeah,
Chrysler. So.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it just has like the old infotainment screen,
Oh,
and,
right,
like
right.
the
Yeah.
Indiglo, like
For sure. Yeah.
dials and whatnot. But anyways, what's the point? Like, what's the point of updating that car at this point? Like, I think the people who are ever gonna buy that, like a big sedan, you could. I think they could have sold it for like another 5 years without changing it, and the same people would have bought it until, of course, they died off.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll find buyers for the V8 300.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think they'll find buyers for this because this hasn't been an offering
Yeah.
for a while.
I suppose so. Yeah.
So,
What else we got?
I think we have.
Check the scroll here.
Um,
Unfurl it.
I was browsing social media last night.
Uh-oh.
Or 2 nights ago,
Yes.
I saw something very upsetting.
Uh-oh. Again?
Yeah,
It's a daily occurrence.
it was saying that there was a new Chrysler or a new pardon me, a new Subaru Crosstrek. And I looked at the picture and it seems that they had posted a picture of the old one. And I don't know how that happens. I know how things are with newsrooms. I know how stuff falls, and I am the last person to throw someone under the bus for a little bit of a snafu with that. Like, I know stuff with managing digital file. Like, you understand. Like, managing
course.
digital files, the new thing
So
gets dropped in,
you had
or
assumed-
whatever. So it was a picture of the old Crosstrek, and then Daniel Golson, who runs social media for CNET Cars, formerly Roadshow, the artist formerly known as Roadshow,
Yes.
said no, that is the new Crosstrek. And once I
saw he was very adamant.
Once I retrieved my phone that I
Yes.
had embedded into the drywall of my home, I had to take another look, and I don't think he's right. Because I think this Crosstrek is the old Crosstrek. And then also it said that this is the third generation of Crosstrek.
Is it because it shares the exact same shape as the old
It's the
one?
exact same thing.
And it shares basically, if you were to squint, the exact same design elements, except for like taillight and headlight shapes.
It's literally all the same design elements, and I don't understand why you would redesign a car 10 years later and not make it different. And I understand that you would... I don't get it. I don't get it. People say that like the Porsche 911 never changed for 60 years. It's like, okay, whatever. But like there's people like they're excited and nerdy about it. They're like, oh,
Sure.
well, these are the differences.
Yeah.
The Subaru thing, I don't understand. It's like they redesign a car. They're like, we have a new chassis. We made the old design on this new chassis. And it's maddening.
Do you think that
crazy?
It's like, do you think it's maybe just kind of I don't even know what to call it, but like honestly, Subaru, it's almost as so. Say for instance, if Land Cruiser were a brand, like they literally.
But you can tell when a Land Cruiser changed.
Sure,
you
yeah.
can see, like you take one that's 15 years newer than a previous one, and you're like, oh, this one's a little bit newer than that one.
Sure, it's the same
But the
car still,
Subarus, there's not that. And also, we're overlooking the part where I said this is the third. The third Crosstrek. This
I'll be
is the
honest.
first one, as far as I'm concerned.
When you said that, I genuinely did have to make it. That gave me it was a
What-
thinker moment.
What the
because
hell was the second gen?
I don't know because I thought there was only one.
There was only one.
There's one.
And this is still that one.
Yeah. So here's the incredulity, I think, might be in part because, and I'm not saying that the cars were so good that they never had to change them. It's that I feel like if they never changed them, people would still buy them in the same way.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
like, I literally, I have a coworker who has bought 2 generations of Outback, and I honestly did not know when she had bought the new Outback because it was the same exact color, but I only looked inside one day and saw that it had, like, the vertical Tesla screen in it. And so I was like, oh, you got a new one. And here's the thing. I don't know that, like, it's competitive in that. I think it already has a market. Like, no one is cross-shopping it like, oh, they've updated it. Like, this is so much better than the old one because it's exactly like the old one. I mean, they literally
But
just buy the old
they
one.
just look like old cars driving around.
Yes.
I don't understand why you wouldn't like do something to try to change the design in a not even redesign it and change it, but just like clean up the design or make it look sleeker or make it like have fewer.
Oh, you're right about that
things.
because
It's
each
just this
facelift or generation is fussier.
It's
than
much
the last,
fussier. It's much fussier.
which is amazing because I don't think they would even need to do anything. Like it could,
They don't need to do anything.
could be the 2015 Outback or Crosstrek, and it would sell all the same. I think the person who was going to buy it was going to buy it one way or another. So
Right.
But yes, I agree with you. That is
I assume it still has like an appallingly low amount of horsepower.
yes, yeah. It is like the 2-liter 4 from naturally aspirated from who knows when. I actually
Yes.
don't know what they are.
I don't know.
Sorry, it's not. Oh, it's not a. Wait, do those get the flat 4s?
Probably, but no turbo.
No turbo. Okay. See. All right. Well, so you're giving it a B minus.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. 2
Yeah.
thumbs sideways.
2 thumbs sideways.
2 thumbs
4
sideways.
thumbs. 4 thumbs sideways.
Yeah.
Collectively.
Yeah, for the engine configuration.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're the only company that actually criticizes. You're the only company. You're the only person who keeps the criticism of Subaru alive because I feel like it's one of those companies that doesn't get really assailed a lot for anything because they just produce the same products.
Okay.
year in, year out.
Well, when we have Mac on,
Yes.
he is a very big critic of Subaru. And it's very funny because he's like, everyone credits them for being an interesting car company when
Yeah.
they're not and they make bad cars.
We've talked about this before too. Is why it is that when someone
Which is my
feels
criticism of
like
Acura.
yes, well, when people think that they are making like a different choice
Mm-hmm.
by going with a Subaru, why is that they think that they're going with such a unique choice here by going with this. It's like
Because most cars, the head gasket the head gaskets, plural, stay together in the first 90,000 miles.
That is
But
true.
with Subaru, you're making a different choice.
yeah. There is a legacy to be had here.
No.
So, did they make the legacy anymore?
Yeah.
Do they?
I actually saw a Legacy non-Outback sedan
What?
the other day, and it was like really weird. It was weird.
That blows my mind that they make a like a legacy currently.
Oh,
Yes.
do you have opinions on the Ferrari?
Song?
Yeah.
It's fine. It looks like it's gonna be really expensive,
Yeah.
and someone's gonna buy it. Obviously.
I actually think it looks like they made more of an effort than any of the other things, like obviously the Urus and the and the DBX.
Okay.
Like previously, I've said the DBS looks the best. This, I think, looks okay, but it seems like they made more of an effort. It's got like the suicide doors. It's got NAV12.
I will say it looks.
They benefit from not having such a shitty parts bin.
I say
That's
I
the
will
only
say,
thing.
Yeah, sure,
That's the
sure.
thing.
It looks good. It looks like it's unoffensive.
But I mean, it seems like they really went all out, like the suicide doors, the V12. Like it seems like kind of cool. Whereas like an Urus is just an Audi,
Sure.
and use it, and the DBX is just kind of very standard fare.
Yeah, the DBX.
I like the idea of doing something different, or
not-
doing something a little bit different than anything else.
I'll say that it has more presence in pictures than the DBX had, which DBX looks great in person, but like in pictures, it's very unassuming.
Oh,
and
yes.
unimpressive in my opinion.
So our friend Jordan says that the DBX looks like a Macan, which I don't see at all.
I do not see that.
But I do. You know what I do see?
Huh.
Is if I see a Mustang Mach-E, I think it's a DBX for a second because
Yeah.
it has a lot of similar lines, like this sort of like rakish, like this sort of a rakish cut line. The 456 style cut line in the side is very evocative.
The Pur song. Has there been like official brand standards that have been released for this?
I don't know.
On how to pronounce the name?
Like there was for the Taycan?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'll say that at the very least, it looks more to me like a tall shooting brake.
They are adamant that it's not an SUV.
Yeah.
Which means nothing.
Yeah. Whatever that means. And it's fine. Like, I think it's very interesting. I mean, obviously, like,
it exceeded my expectations because my expectations were very low.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of it. Like, it's another, like, people want, like, lifted tall things.
Yeah.
And so, like, here it is. Here's another thing. So, yeah, I'm sure it will be great. Technology will compensate for the fact that it weighs, I'm sure, like 5,500 pounds.
Yeah.
Or more. And I'm sure it'll sound great. I mean, it's a V12. I'm sure they will program in also, like, a more amazing sounds into it. So, and it will cost, what, 350?
Oh, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah. So, there is that. I will say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like 400, but I don't know what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uber SUVs like this, like, I don't know, like, where to peg an opinion on them. Like, I mean, I'm not going to be on the bandwagon like, oh, they're all bad. Like, this is the new, like, reality. They're here. They are competent vehicles, I suppose.
My complaint that I had before was like when you would see a Lamborghini or you would see a Ferrari car, and it's like there is no other car with this proportion.
Yeah.
But if you see a DBX and you see a Mach-E, and it's like, okay, they're like the same shape and size and proportion, and it's like I don't understand why one is $350,000 and one is $50,000.
Exactly. Here's the thing. So, unfortunately, and this was not the opinion that I had initially when this car came out, but now I'm looking at the Cullinan as far as like Uber SUVs go, not necessarily performance-wise, but like cars that basically touch on the 500,000 mark or in the neighborhood of, seems more interesting to me, even though it is just like a raised sedan.
It's like a hatchback Phantom.
Yeah.
I wish they did something crazier with the styling.
But I'm not saying that like I would prefer one, but like say for instance over like the Urus, over
Yeah.
the Bentayga, over the Persong, like at this point, like I think that the Cullinan might be the most pure of them all right now. Not saying that it's good, not saying that I would willingly choose one all the money in the world.
Yeah.
Is it not? Like it doesn't have pretense. It's just a tall phantom.
I mean, I guess it just seems like such a missed opportunity. It's like where they could have done more.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
But then you could also just argue that it's just restrained British design. And so it's going back to like
the Phantom.
a more
It's
dignified
going back to the
time.
Phantom.
Yeah,
I
going
don't
back
know.
to a
It's like,
BMW design.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, like, but amongst all of those, like, it's the least controversial. People seem to hate it the least. People talk about it the least, I guess. But
Yeah, that is.
it's a class of its own, though. Like, I don't think.
tough. Okay, I am a little bit with you just on the grounds that I would be embarrassed in such a flashy car that's an SUV.
A Cullinan?
No. In the other two, in like
Okay,
the
yeah.
DBX or the
Sure.
Pro Segway,
Yeah.
Puro Segway. Like I would be embarrassed to have such a flashy car, even if it's silver. It's like it's this attention-getting thing, and it's like I'm drawing attention to having the worst thing from this car company.
Not that we're class definers, but like, it is a little bit like new money, like tech billionaire
Right.
type choices. Not that
God,
if you
I
aren't.
fucking hate that you might be right about this. Like
Here's the
this
thing.
honestly is very upsetting because the Cullinan is kind of like the Range Rover plus plus, whereas the Pro Song
discreet.
is like the Pro Song and the DBX is very
It's
shouty.
strangely discreet.
But to have a shouty, like to have such a shouty car, but also it's an SUV, like that would be upsetting. Like
yeah, because
I
like,
we like having a car that gets attention a little bit,
sure.
but it's like it's also there is a coolness, there's
There
an
should be something
oldness,
interesting.
something interesting.
Yeah.
Like to have a car that gets
Legitimately.
attention, but it's like a $300,000 modern SUV is
Yeah.
very gross.
It is gross, and like, but the person who has
Okay,
bought this
you
does
might be
not
right about
is
this.
not interested in anything about that car one way or another. It's just it was expensive and it was a brand that they liked.
Okay.
But a Rolls Royce,
Mm-hmm.
always classy. Even though the Cullinan, not a big fan, but actually might be the classiest SUV out there today, aside from a Range Rover.
It does seem to take, but I mean, it seems to take like the '70s idea of a Range Rover
Yeah.
and push it to the max.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
And aside from the tuners, like it's just very discreet. Like it's a very discreet vehicle.
well, the funny thing is about when you say Mansory, because me, like Will and I we used to like, it used to be very upsetting that you could have these tuners of these bad tuners like
Yeah.
Mansory or whatever, and they put out a press release like we've ruined a car, and like certain bad publications,
Yeah.
like Autoblock, would run an article like, oh, they're at it again. It's
Yeah.
like here's a story, and it's like what if you just didn't cover this? You know,
That is
the
true.
funniest one, the funniest of all of those tuners was always this company called. It was called Wheels and More, like with an
What?
apostrophe N, like Wheels and More, and
Wheels
they
in
ruined
More?
Bentleys. They ruined Bentleys in mass.
Oh my
It'd be like
God.
it was like
I am not
2011
familiar
or
with this
12
at
or
all.
13 or 14, but it'd be like Wheels and More unveils new Continental GT, and it's like awful as shit, and it's just so
Whoa.
funny because it was such a goofy name.
I do not recall Wheels in More.
Wheels More. So okay, so I'm gonna take something. I'm gonna turn it a little
right.
bit.
Please.
This is Fuke Mary Kill. The
Yes.
year is 2023.
Yes.
SUVs only, $250,000
Yes.
edition.
Oh dear.
Cullinan DBX Pro Segway E. What are you FMKing?
Oh.
Now the rules of the game are this:
Yes.
Fuke, drive it once. Mary, keep it as a daily. Kill, it goes straight to the crusher.
Okay. So we were talking about the Cullinan, the Song, and then the what?
DBX.
DBX. boy. What with Aston being a sex symbol brand,
Sure.
obviously, I'll fuke that. And
Whoa.
knowing nothing. Good. You know what? Good question. Because like DBX and Pursong to me are kind of like very parallel. And DBX has been around for a while. We've seen a few in person. Pursong we have not, and it's not unattractive, and it seems unique. But I just hate that. Oh man, I just hate that they made this. Like that it's just a what is the point? This is the old man
Making money.
take. I know. Cash is king. So okay. I'm gonna marry the Cullinan because it's just I think it's just classy
Okay.
if you're gonna have an SUV of that caliber.
Sure.
And I'm going to kill. Ooh.
You already said you were gonna fuke the DBX.
I know, but now I'm going back because I don't know. Because the V12 sounds like pretty cool.
Yeah, versus a Mercedes
4-liter.
4-liter V.
You know what? Here's the thing. The idea of the DBX has never sat entirely well with me, just because I think it looks really good in person, but it's just like at a distance has never looked that special. So obviously, if you own one, you know that it is unique, but outside of it, it doesn't look that unique. And I think the Pursong looks a little bit more unique than the DBX. So
Yeah.
Gonna kill the DBX.
That's fair. That's probably, I mean, based on our discussion, that's probably what I would do too,
Gonna
as far
fuke
as
the
the whole
Pursong.
thing.
Yeah. Plus, like anything
you know what, the
Ferrari.
DBX, and I actually, I think the DBX looks okay in person. I think it looks better than most. I think it looks better than the Urus. I think it looks better than the other ones. But
Yeah, I don't think it's ugly. It's just
no,
I don't think it's. I don't, for some reason, it just driving dynamics, whatever it might be. I've not driven one, obviously, but it does not seem like a $200,000
yeah.
vehicle to me. So
When you're in luck, because I think it's $300,000.
okay, well then,
I don't know what these things cost.
Yeah.
They're too much. But
Ferrari has always been like kind of elitist and special. Anyways, they've never made like a Signet, say for instance.
they'd be a lot cooler if they did.
I know.
The DBX, you know, what would be really cool is if it was like a Lagonda styling.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they just said, like, because if they just said, we're just doing a different styling. Like,
I
we're
wish
just
it
gonna
was
do
more
something
grand. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was grand, that would be a statement because an SUV is going to be big anyways.
Right.
Which is why, again, the Cullinan is unapologetic about its size and grandeur.
So my complaint, and you've heard this, and
Yeah.
the listeners have heard this, but if you're a listener, any listener that may have not heard this, my complaint is that the Cullinan, they could have done something a little more daring, just because they have never made an SUV before, so there is no history.
undesigned.
There is no history to tear up. Like, it's not like there's heritage that they're spitting on by making something radical. So they could take one of their concept cars from 2008 and make it like, this is what the SUV looks like. It has, you know, half the cut lines of our normal cars, and the
Yeah.
headlights are little tiny beads, and it's crazy. Like, they could do that with the SUV because no one would be mad because they've never done an SUV before. So you
Yeah.
could make it very radical.
Yeah.
Because the idea of it, of a Rolls-Royce SUV is radical. So the fact that they made it literally like a phantom hatchback is very dull. But I appreciate the classiness of it, especially since it is sort of taking the old Range Rover idea and pushing it to now, pushing that concept to places that Range Rover is kind of not really allowed to go now.
I will say that perhaps there is something relevant to current news, which is that the royal family chooses Land Rovers as their mode of transport.
Well, they're of the people.
Yeah, the people, yeah. But versus Rolls Royces and Bentleys and whatnot. Although I suppose Land Rover, Land Rover is owned by an Indian company, so
Yes.
I'm not really sure if there's any domestic pride in any of that. But there's just something about it that is just as an idea. I think
No,
it is the most,
I get that. No,
Yeah.
you convinced me. I would be the least embarrassed to be seen
Yeah.
driving that, because
Yeah.
I think being in like a bright red DBX and pulling up anywhere, and it's like to get all the attention for something that is kind of reprehensible, it would be embarrassing.
I agree. We're attempting to be not anti SUV, CUV here on this podcast, but
Maybe.
it is a struggle, but
Yes.
we are getting there because it is just the new future as it is. And SUV, CUVs will be the smallest cars on the planet eventually, because now with electric pickups.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah, when
think-
you're saying that the Pro Song probably weighs 5,500 pounds, I was like, oh, well, the EV version is going to weigh a lot more than that.
Yeah. We'll see where all of that goes. That all said, I think we might have a podcast.
Thank God.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Anyways, thanks for listening. Do follow us on Instagram at New496, Twitter, all the same.
Yep.
Email us.
Spelled out, not the same.
Not
New for
all the
96.
same.
Spelled out.
Yeah, for complaints
Yes.
and whatnot, recipe suggestions. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.